A 51-49 cloture vote this morning in the U.S. Senate advanced Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation vote to the full Senate for a likely vote on Saturday or Sunday. Colorado Senator Michael Bennet spoke from the Senate floor on Thursday night, saying he is a no vote, while Senator Gardner announced on Friday that he is a yes vote. Eric, I'm not sure if there's really any surprising headline here, but do you see this impacting Colorado politics the way it all went down?
Oh, of course it impacts Colorado politics, and the way it impacts politics in any state. It's the issue people are talking about. Whichever side loses this weekend, which looks like it's more likely than not to be the Democratic side, and he will get confirmed by a vote or two, but we may eat crow here with that prediction shortly. Whichever side loses is going to be even more animated, more motivated, more pissed for November. I watched Bennett's speech on tape. It was a powerful speech. It echoes a lot of the messages I try to pronounce in terms of the harm to our political system, the fragile nature of our political system. It would have been even more powerful had Michael Bennet not been on record from almost the get-go, as opposed to Kavanaugh, if he had actually been a swing vote and not on the record. But it was a powerful statement. Real quick, Dominic, we should be very clear what this is about and what this is not about. Sexual assault is part of the discussion. That is not at the crux of what this is about. It's not about demeanor, it's not about privilege, it's not even about beer. It is about a power play on the part of both political parties, the Republicans who want to fill this seat as soon as possible, the Democrats who want to keep it open forever. And it is about one other word, and that word is abortion, and the way that that issue has just divided and cleaved this country for the last 30 or 40 or 50 years or more. That's what this fight is about. Everything else is peripheral noise.
And there was an awful lot of energy generated on both sides from the hearings and the investigation. Did the lengthy investigation quell that energy, or are we going to see it pop back up again once the confirmation is voted upon this weekend?
Oh, I think we're certainly going to see it quell back up again. Just as Patty mentioned that we're all going to be getting cards in the mail, we're soon going to be getting cards with Brett Kavanaugh's face in the mail, especially if you're in CD6, because now he's going to become the symbol of everything that is bad about the Republicans for Democratic activists, even though Mike Hoffman would never have had the opportunity to actually vote on Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation. This is the lengthy investigation, and I'm going to sound, maybe a bit jaded here, but the lengthy investigation gave both sides time to look at it and say, does it help us or hurt us more how we vote on here? And I think for Republicans, that was really the true issue here. Is it going to alienate our supporters more if we kill Kavanaugh's nomination, or is it going to help us in the elections more if we forward it? And I think they've decided we're going to go forward with this. We think that's going to do better, even if it's going to lose us votes on some people. And so I think the energy that has surrounded this is going to keep up. I wish we would be talking about issues that are going to happen in 2019, not a vote that's going to happen tomorrow. But no, we haven't heard the end of this.
Patty, your reaction in general to not only everything we did before last week, but the investigation, how it was couched this week?
Well, it was not much of an investigation by all accounts. That Deborah Ramirez had many witnesses she'd suggested they speak to. They didn't. She now has 2 different lawyers on this. Watching this from Colorado, which was the first state to legalize abortion, the first state to take domestic violence seriously, the first domestic violence court, it was amazing what women did here in the late 60s and early 70s to be taken seriously. And watching it from Colorado is tremendously dismaying. And I mentioned last week the number of women who have talked to me about their own personal stories and what this has done. Unfortunately, it is politics that we're seeing in play. But what we're also seeing is a man who, by his testimony last Thursday, is not someone in demeanor, in attitude, maybe in beer drinking, I like beer drinking, but in anything else does not belong on the high court for the rest of his life.
David, wrap it up for us. Was the investigation proper or window dressing?
The investigation would have been a lot more proper if Senator Bennet, with all his high dudgeon about harm to the political system, had done the right thing, which is when Deborah Ramirez came to him, he should have then led her to the Senate committee staff, as is normal for all kinds of nominees when there's an accusation like this, and she could have talked to them, and she had every opportunity to provide whatever list of witnesses she claims to have. Obviously, the New York Times and the New Yorker looked massively for supporting witnesses for her and found absolutely none. And at least the rumor from this FBI report, which it is confidential, pursuing to rules of the Senate that were adopted under President Obama, with it's what his White House wanted. But at least the rumor of that is she was even less credible in her FBI interview than in her previous statements, where she, by her own account, 35 years afterwards, suddenly decided that it was Brett Kavanaugh who did this.